I found a photo of you.
Oh my God.
I've been keeping it from you for a couple of years.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm so excited.
I'm taking pictures of you. I'm taking pictures of everything.
Whose head and body and clothes are those? Because it is me.
That's you?
That's me.
That's you. Did you know that you're in the archives at all?
No.
This is August 22nd, 2011. And I was doing, this is at a show called Whiplash
Oh, yeah.
at UCB, the old UCB.
The old UCB.
And
There I am, leaving.
yeah, you're leaving UCB. And I usually, honestly, they're usually not great photos. I
Yeah.
usually, if I have time, it's rare I have time anymore, but if I have time, I'll buzz through and I'll just do like an atmosphere shot
Yeah.
of people leaving or entering. I was just at UCB this weekend. I didn't get any shots like this at all. It was just way too busy to do. But on this night, I caught you leaving
Wow.
Whiplash.
Sneaking around seeing shows instead of doing them.
Yeah.
What a time.
So I love the fact that we see you in the archives. Were you performing comedy yet in August of 2011?
I was performing. I want to say, I don't know my comedy birth date. A lot of people like know theirs, but mine had some starts and stops, and I had like one of my many back surgeries like in the middle of me like trying to start doing comedy. But I was doing a lot of storytelling at the time, and I think I was like slowly moving into stand up at that point. So I would have been like hanging around and doing mics, but I wasn't like booked,
Right.
I think. Yeah, 15 years ago. 15 years
Incredible.
ago. I can't believe you found that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm glad you saved it till now. I think I would have had like a meltdown if I had seen it during lockdown when we like weren't doing comedy or seeing people. I would have been like, what happened to my life? Like, this is
Well,
a much better context.
I did have
Well, you were doing, yeah.
I did have meltdowns.
Oh, I was having constant meltdowns. I
Yeah.
just didn't need a new reason for one.
Yeah, I can't remember if I've told this story yet on the podcast, but there is, it's not like I said to myself in 2006, today you are starting the archives of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
File everything accordingly. That's not
Yeah.
that's not how it happened. I was doing a favor for my friend Carol and I was photographing her shows.
Yeah.
And at the time, this is like 2006. At the time, I'm just sending her an email with, like, a 72 DPI 4-inch by 6-inch file of, like, 4 photos from her comedy show the night
Yeah.
before that she can put on her blog.
Yeah. Blogging,
I'm not thinking
naming conventions, folders, anything like,
I'm not thinking I'll need to find these later.
right.
I'm not
Right.
thinking that. And then by the time we get to 2011, I am keeping records, I am naming stuff, but there's all these holes in the record keeping.
Yeah.
And because things by then were moving very quickly and I didn't always have time to caption things.
Right.
And so on, I believe it was March 13th, 2020, I was like, we gonna be inside for quite a while. And I got out hard drive number 1 and I started naming things, uploading the high res to my website, and really going through. And that's why we're able to do these image polls with you guys today, is because I literally did that for 8 hours a day up until we started getting really busy with portraits.
Yeah.
When the vaccine
Yeah.
came out, we were busy to a level where I just kind of had to drop it.
Yeah.
And so, but I got from 2006 until mid 2014. And that's why I found that.
That is so funny. And
Yeah.
like whatever I wore to my office that day when I had office jobs to like keep me afloat, and
Yeah.
the J. Crew pencil skirt, why not? I can't believe you have that. That's so crazy.
I haven't seen you in a skirt in.
But that's probably the last time. I'm a jeans gal.
And then the next time you enter the archives, also found this during the acute lockdown period. This is you
Yeah.
at Stick or Treat.
Yes.
Um, this would have been you in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people remember that Stick or Treat. There was an episode of it at Bowery Poetry
Yes.
Club, 2011.
Yes. And that was when, yes, I was doing comedy at this time because I was I wasn't there as like, "Ooh, what's this show?" I was like, "Oh, all my friends are on this show." And I remember that was the one where, it was DeVito and Matt Wayne and what now I'm, like, blanking on, like, it was, like, 5 of them were all
Eric Bergstrom.
Bergstrom.
Yeah, they all wore black wigs.
Who were they?
Can't remember who they
How am
were
I
being
spacing? It was
either.
so funny.
Yeah, Joe Pera did something with a baguette that year.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. I remember whoever was doing someone did Mara Hoffman not Mara Herron, sorry,
Yeah.
Mara Hoffman. Easy to confuse. Clothing I Want and a friend of mine. Um, Mara Herron and, like, bringing her purse on stage, and I was just like, I love, like, those little shtick is so fun in that way where it's, like, those tiny details are what really sell it. That's so another business casual outfit, I assume, was lurking in the back of that audience.
And then we next see you at the Avalon holiday party in 2013.
Mhm. Not my representation and never has been.
December 13th, 2013 at KGB Bar.
Yes.
And by this point, what do you think's going on in comedy? Where do you think you're at?
I'm trying to place, like, when that would have been, like I just remember that fun phase where you're, like, leaving your comedy infancy, those first few years where you're like, "What is this? And who are these people? And what am I trying to do?" And, like, it all starts clicking in a real, like, "These are real friends of mine. I get what I'm doing now and what I'm trying to," like, just not even, like, necessarily any, like, career moments, but I remember, like, that time feeling like, "Oh, I get what's happening at the Creek, and those are people I like hanging out with." Like, I just remember I don't know, like, what was going on with my career at that point.
Yeah.
Probably not probably, the stable, like, doing a ton of shows, maybe starting to get, like, a packet a year for a job because it came from, like, somebody who gave it to somebody else. Like, I think I was, like, still unrepped, auditioning for JFL every year and never getting it, like, that fun phase where, like, the most booked I ever like, doing the most because I was young and had the energy. Um, yeah, I think that's where that would have been.
Yeah. And the next time that we see you is Kara and
Oh my god,
Jared,
yes. Their engagement party?
their engagement party at the Players Club,
Yes. Oh,
which
wow.
so much history. It's the only time I've ever been there, but it's so cool.
Yeah, I remember. That was, like, in a phase where I was, like, skipping so many people's, like, weddings and life events for comedy, and it was like, "Oh, this one feels, like, easy," because I'm like they knew, like, just to be, like, a weeknight in the city or, like, like, it wasn't, like,
Right.
some and then went to their wedding also, but that's when, like, also, like, I feel like comedy friends were like, "Oh, these are my, like, real friends." Like, in addition to my friends outside of comedy, like, these are not, like, just coworkers. They're, like, real people in my life that I
Right.
see and spend time with.
Yeah. I don't really have a separation.
Yeah.
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 Whether
Oh,
whether
no, definitely not.
whether there's a value judgment
Yeah.
that's good or bad.
No, no, it's just, like and I think also just, like, it took a minute. I feel like at least as a woman doing this, like, I made friends instantly with the women I met, and the men I was always like, "I'm trying to sort out, like, what this" not in a sexual or romantic way, but just like "Are you get that I'm doing this the same way that you are, right?" And then we are like and that like, "Are we gonna be friends or are you gonna be an asshole?"
Right.
Whereas, like, I met Kara and I was like, "Oh, I'm in. This is great."
Kara's the
I
best.
mean, Kara's the greatest.
She's the best. We want her in, like, as soon as possible
Yeah,
because she goes
yeah.
back so
She goes
far.
back so
Yeah,
far.
yeah. And then we're now at,
So this is a shtick
yeah, Stick or
at
Treat 2014,
old
Littlefield.
Littlefield.
Thank you. I was just saying earlier today, Littlefield has been in a new location for what, 8 years
Yeah.
now? I
Yeah, no, it's been a while.
It's been quite a while, and it is still the new
I
Littlefield.
always think of it as, like, the new one on the other block. Like, it's a it it I don't know, and, like, especially because, I moved to the I live near Littlefield, and I, like, moved to that neighborhood, when it was when it I've been there for, like, 8 or 10 years, and, so, to me, I, remember that transition being like, it's near me, but it's a different one, and it's just I'm glad it didn't go away, but it is always gonna be the new Littlefield to me.
Yeah. I'll miss this backstage always and
I
forever.
know.
It's one of my favorite backstages, and just a huge room and everybody could hang out in it, and I miss it.
Oh my god, yeah, I was Natasha Leggero, and took off my glasses to do it because she doesn't wear glasses. Um, and I remember it was that's the only time I'm not a shtick person. I love
Well,
watching it, but, I'm not an impressionist, I'm not an actor, I'm not I find, the idea of acting at all to be terrifying despite doing stand-up. I'm like, um, one thing I do remember about this night is I was wearing super tall high heels because obviously Natasha dresses nice on stage, and I was wearing these, they were, 4-inch Michael Kors collection. I had found them at Loehmann's for $50. They were suede black pumps, and I have large feet, and Joel Kim Booster, I believe it was Joel Kim, was being a woman, whatever comic he was pretending to be was a woman, and he was like, "Can I borrow those?" I was like, "There's no way these are gonna fit you," and they did. I'm 90% this is sure this was Joel Kim, and then, I was leaving halfway through because I had to go to another spot, and I'd worn, regular shoes to, schlep around the city, and then I never got them back. I don't know if they, made it out of Littlefield, I don't know, I no fault, it had been many years since I'd worn high heels at that point. They were,
yeah,
old, and I was just like, "That's not part of my life." They are now for someone else to have.
yeah.
But, I remember being like, "Oh, gross, my feet are huge." They're so big. Oh, fun. My one shtick.
And we move on to A Night of 100 One-Liners,
Oh,
Eric
yeah.
Bergstrom fundraiser, November 4th, 2015. We're at the Creek in the Cave, and you had 60 seconds to tell a joke.
I wish I could remember what I did because I have so few super short jokes that I don't know. I wonder if I wrote something new or if there was something very old or an old I'm sure I just did a tweet. That was the height of Twitter before it became whatever it is now.
Yeah, yeah. And then, oh, we see you again, Avalon Holiday Party 2015. That was
I
always a good
It
party.
was always a good party. It was always a good time. It was always it didn't feel like a industry party. It always just felt like a party.
Yeah.
In a way where I was just again, never happened, repped by them. But it was always my pals. I think Kara and I got really drunk this night. I wonder if she would mind me saying that.
I did too.
Yes. I mean, also I did. I think we then went to her friend's place after that and we're pounding wine and we took an Uber home and we were both like, I'm gonna barf.
And then we start out 2016, 51st jokes at the Bell House.
And then nothing bad ever happened to anybody in 2016 ever again.
Yep, everything was great.
51st.
Started the year out together, and
Yes.
everything was
My
awesome.
favorite thing. My favorite thing. I wonder there's a funny one that you have from I wonder if this was this one or that one. There's a real funny photo that I wonder if we'll get to it from a 51st. I think it's a little after this one though, that I hope we can address. This is a different one though, right?
Yeah, we're still in 2016.
What was
Oh, wait,
this? Oh no,
no,
this is
you're right.
2017.
2018.
2018.
So you're in the archives.
Oh, I moved to LA
You moved to LA.
in between.
So you were gone, it looks like, almost perfectly 2 years.
I was gone. I went to LA for 3 or 4 months and came back, and then, about 6 months later, then I moved for a full year and then came back. So I was, like, barely here for 2 years.
Yeah.
Or, like, for, like, 1 year, I was not here at all, and then I'd been traveling and back and forth to LA a bit. So, like, yeah, that makes sense that that's where that hole would be.
Okay.
I wasn't here.
How'd you feel about LA?
It's not my favorite. I don't no offense to the fine city of Los Angeles, but I don't like to drive. I do like to drink. It's it's, like, not set up for me. I found it I had hit, like, some ceilings here that I felt I couldn't clear. Like, I was like, "I'm booked all over," but, like, despite trying, like, no clubs were, like, super interested in passing me. So I was like, "Okay, it's just, like, bar shows and back rooms and alt shows," and, like, that filled my calendar enough, but doesn't pay in the same way that having a lot of club spots would've. I wasn't really doing the road except for here and there, and I'd submitted for, like I had done packets for, like, all the late night shows that were based here, like, multiple times, had interviews, like, got so close and wasn't getting them, and I was just like, "I don't know what." I love New York, it is my forever home, but, like, I I was like, "I don't know." I moved to LA without a plan, being like, "I just have to something has to change because 'cause I'm, like, really treading water." Even though, like, comedy was going well, I was doing well on shows, I was doing shows I liked, I was, like, happy being with everybody, but I was like, "There's a next phase coming, and I don't know how to, like, break through," and so I went to LA and then finally got a job back in New York.
Really?
I think sometimes and I went through my year in LA where I was, like, living there full time was, like, dark, not because I, like, don't like LA, like, but I was just like, "Oh, I have no community here," but also I was like it was, like, early in my TV career where I'd had, like, some little jobs, but, like, nothing stuck as, like, a big first, like, I did it, like, I'm in the union, I got like I wrote on, like, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog and did some little stuff, but I didn't have a job, and I got so close and got I think I did 25 packets and had, like, 20 interviews and
Whoa.
couldn't get a job in that year and couldn't get a job. And I was just like, I was like, "Maybe this isn't gonna work," and then I got the President Show, and I moved back. Oh, I guess I was around in 2017, but I was like
Busy writing on
I
the
was busy
President
writing on the
Show.
President Show, and then this would have been around the opposition time probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you so back in the era of the packets, right? Are we in as much of a packet era these days? I don't hear about them as often.
Um, no, for a few one, I don't know as much about that world because I, like, moved into narrative half hours and that, like, just, like, functions differently of, like, having a sample script and trying to get jobs in that world. But there was, like when I was doing so many packets, it was because there were so many shows. Like, Comedy Central always had, like, 1 or 2 dumb new late night shows that they were doing, and, like, TBS and True TV and all these places existed and, like, made studio shows. So, like, yeah, you had, like, the big late night shows, like, you had your Conans and Kimmel and Fallon, but then you also had all these other little ones that, like, you that would send out packets, and they were usually, like, a little looser and for, like, people who are starting out because they would be kind of, like, cheap, thrown together, like, "We're gonna see if this works," kinda shows, and those don't exist anymore, like, those things exist in a different realm.
Yeah.
Like, that's TikTok and, like but, like, I think that's, like, a different I don't those aren't TV shows anymore, they're, like, exclusively digital and usually just made by, like, one person who's like,
Right.
I have a microphone, so it's just me," and then there's no writers.
Yeah. And I'm the only person talking about this, but I'm a little worried about the pipeline.
I'm very worried about it because at some point, I learned how to write for TV by writing for TV
Right.
and by trying to write for TV. You know, packets were themselves like this really good like exercise in, like was every show a dream job that I would have wanted to work on? Like no, but it's like you have a week, sit down, write all the jokes that you're supposed to write, figure out the sketches you want to pitch and like, stuff got to be reusable. It's not like, some of it worked over time, but like you really learned how to churn that out so that when, for me doing so many, I felt like when I showed up to the President Show and to the other jobs I'd done before, I was like ready because I had done so much joke writing separate from the stand up I was doing.
Right.
And it is a very different kind of writing to write to camera, um, to write for somebody else and not yourself, which was always, and by somebody else, I mean men. Um, No, there were a few women who had shows that I submitted for, and I remember it being, like, such an exhale to be like, "Oh, I can write this in a woman's voice instead of a man's. What a relief." So much easier.
Yeah. But that's the thing, it was on the job training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learned and you worked with, like, on those, like, late night shows, it's like you're working with veteran writers who've been around for 20, 25 years who, like, know how to do this like the back of their hand, and you're, like, working with them in a way that now I feel like a young writer and an older like, I don't see it happening as much because staffs are so small that you either just have brand new people that are cheap and an expensive EP and host, or you just get you keep the room to 3 people and it's just veteran writers because 'cause you're like, "Well, we can churn this out fast. We don't need to teach somebody."
Right.
And it's sad.
Yeah. Not to belabor the point, but that era was just such a fruitful time.
It really was. I feel very lucky because sometimes I'm like, "I wish I had started earlier. I wish I had been more serious about, like, pursuing comedy, like, right out of college when I was an intern at The Onion. That would have been a really good time to be pursuing comedy, but I just didn't know. I've never been a performer before that, so I was just like, "What am I gonna get up on stage and use a microphone? That feels insane." Like, not a musician, not an actor, not a like, I've never, like, that's not part of I was like an athlete, and so there were years of me trying to figure out what I wanted, and I'm like, I wish I'd started earlier, who knows what," and I'm like, I was, like, coming up at a time that felt like I got to get really good really fast with people that I really like.
Gosh.
I'm sure that would have been true 5 years earlier,
Yeah.
but here we are, and I'm
Yeah.
sad. So then this would have been 2018?
Yeah. That's backstage
Yeah.
at 50.
I was experimenting with wearing a hat. It didn't last long. Um, no, I mean, it's like I wear hats for work, but it's like in the I don't know if you've like, in the winter when it's cold, like, if I put on a hat, like, that's it. The hair becomes a disaster. I sweat a
Yeah.
lot, but then it's also cold, it gets frizzy, and, like and so I just have to keep the hat on, and, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Can I say something about these oh, yeah, it's not this one, it's later. About these that like, what your photos remind me of is,
But
like, in college and high school or whatever, my friends and I, we would go out on a Saturday night, we would bring our disposable cameras, this is pre-digital cameras, and we would drop them off at the dining hall at the photo, like, development place, and then they would be ready Tuesday night when we went to dinner, and we would each have 1 to 2 cameras for every weekend because we were just taking 1,000,000 pictures of just each other,
right.
and we would bring them, and it was like we would all be like, we would bring them Sunday at brunch and, like, pick them up Tuesday, we'd go to dinner after rowing practice, and we would all just, like, have these envelopes, we would all get doubles, and it was just like like, oh my god, we were so drunk, like, who knows what we were taking pictures of, like, we were just like, you days later, you're like, "What were these?" And you're like, "Oh my god, this, remember this?" Like, and then we would, like, trade the doubles and, like, everybody would get to, like, keep a bunch of photos, and it's like, when you would send out, like, "Hey, here's the photos from 51st," or, like, "Here's, like, from the show you did," it just, like, it has that feeling to me that's like, "Oh my god, yes, I do remember the other night when, like, that was happening, and, like and she said this." I was like, "Okay, yeah, I have to remember this." So, like, it just is, for me, the same kind of DNA of a memory, and it, like, is a very joyful one for me.
Oh, I was so happy to hear that. I'm so
I
happy
love
to
it
hear
so
it.
much.
And I love that it's tied up in a college memory,
Yes.
especially,
Yes.
because my earliest work, was photographing my friends in college, and
Yeah.
I had a professor make fun of me for that. Um, and, he said, I believe what he said was, "Yeah, women always photograph their family and friends."
Oh, man.
When my alumni association asked me for a donation of art, I just can't find any.
Yeah.
I
Just family and
can't
friend pics.
I can't
Doesn't count.
I so sorry. I ceremonially tear that up every year when I get
Yeah,
to my parents' house and the
absolutely.
request is there. I literally shred it over a garbage can. I have a long memory.
Yeah.
But yeah, my love for photography is that's what it's from, is that feeling of photographing something with and for
Yeah.
your friends.
Yeah.
Like I haven't come at it from like fashion or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I That's not what I'm into. I'm an extremely sentimental person, who also spent her 20s and 30s a little drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Every year I do make my I have 2 New Year's resolutions that I make myself every year. One is to tell people when I like their work more often because I feel like that's just nice to do and you forget that, like I'm like, "Oh, you know that I like your work because 'cause we're friends." And it's like, "No, no, I should be like, oh, that thing you did was really good." And the other one is to take more pictures of my friends because I feel like I was so good about it for so long and, like, somewhere along the way with, like, Instagram being a promotion machine that I have to use for myself to, like, make people like me, um, what? Um, I just got a lot lazier about taking photos of my friends, and so every year, like, in the year, I'm like, "Work on that this year, like, take more photos of your friends." So
Yeah. Awesome.
but thankfully, you're doing it so well that I can kind of rely on if you're around. I'll have much better photos of me and my friends.
So we go from 51st jokes to just later that month,
Oh, yeah.
January 24th, 2018. All right, some of the names for these shows. Listen to this name: Bush's B-Day Bash, a comedy show for Planned Parenthood.
Yes. It was Kristen Buckles and Lacey Jecka.
Oh,
Buckles
okay.
and Lacey. I remember I had met them. So my first real seeming job was writing for Triumph the Insult Comic Dog for some of the, like, pre-2016 election stuff. And I was working remote. There were some people that were working in an office, but the writing staff was 20 people and it was 19 men and me. Um, Comedy, not in that voice. Um, um, but that's the comedy ratio. And Buckles and Lacey were the writer's assistants on that show. And I never met them during it because I was working it like we would just get like assignments and just be like, "Meow, meow, 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 meow. Here's a bunch of jokes. And they were like, "We always moved your stuff to the top because we knew you were the only woman, and there was just no way that it was ever gonna get seen if, like, everybody's name was on everything all the time." Like, and not that they were not that it would be intentional, but just, like, they were like, "We pushed your stuff up a lot just to make," and, like, I got a lot on. Like, I did get a lot of stuff on that, like, I'm sure just because they were, like, looking out for, like, me not getting lost in the mix of this giant staff of
Yeah.
all men.
Wow.
So I love them forever, and Buckles just had a baby, congrats.
Congrats.
I also love this one so much that I used it when I was briefly on a dating app. It was the only photo I ever let of my comedy, let men know that I do comedy in advance of meeting them,
Yeah.
but my hair was so shiny that I really couldn't not.
You do look great there. So you used something that said bushes in the background?
I cropped it so you couldn't see. It was I cropped it into a vertical.
Okay. Yeah.
So that would be a good litmus test.
Ew.
If you're okay with this, then you'll probably be okay with me. Or maybe it was no, it was that one, not this upcoming one, but I definitely
Yeah, so those are backstage on that night, and then I see you again, um, at the Bell House.
yeah.
No, this is
No, this is
Littlefield.
a little field.
This is okay, listen to his name. Cox Against Glocks, 50 comedians tell dick jokes to benefit gun control.
We had fun.
March 28th, 2018,
I
Littlefield.
think Matt Koff produced this and ran it.
Yeah,
I wanna say.
Matt.
I remembered I wish I again, this is one that I'm like, I wish I remembered the joke. It's
Yeah,
in a Google document somewhere, but I guess we'll never we'll never know. Yeah, that was the era of a lot of, like, big benefit shows with a million people on them with, like, a tight it's, like, obviously, we've already just, like, talked about 2 of them, but I feel like that was, like, a very popular, like, show to do if you were gonna do some kind of, like, charity or benefit.
yeah. I mean, I think they were.
Yeah. Right,
Yeah,
because it's like, if you have 50 comics on a lineup or 30 even, like, people will be like, oh, this is a good bang for your buck, like to go see it, even if I'm like, who the hell are most of these people?
Right.
There are names you would recognize all in one room. They're always fun. I always like a homework show where the homework is like, write one joke. Like instead of like, prepare a PowerPoint, like do a story, like write a whole sketch. Like those could be very fun. And I say yes to them every once in a while and then get up to the line and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. This is December 1st, 2018.
A Hanukkah extravaganza.
Hanukkah
Extravaganza.
extravaganza.
Because it's like, I want to say at flat A for extravaganza, but Hanukkah has the uh,
Yeah.
Hanukkah extravaganza.
Yeah.
At Union Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I'm always just like, oh, I can pull out all of my jokes about being a Jewish gal for
Yeah.
those shows,
Yeah.
which is always so easy. And like, also, like, I love any show that's happening around the holidays is the most fun show.
Yeah. Run by Lana and Alana.
Yes.
Little Cutie Pies. And Lana has done a lot of work in the archives. She does a lot of captioning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we owe her quite a big thanks.
Wow.
Part of how I'm able to do all these
All of
polls.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. And we see you again January of 2019 back at the Bell House for 51st Jokes.
Yes. I do remember how I opened this bit that night where I was like, I'm sorry I'm so tan, because I'd just gotten back from my family vacation I go on every year. When I was like, I'm sorry I'm so tan. I just got back from Aruba. Like, I don't know, like my parents are rich, but my dad's indigenous. Like, you figure out how to feel about it. Because I get very tan. And we do go on a trip that they pay for. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, but he grew up poor. So it's fine, right, guys? Wonder what I did after that. I don't even remember.
And then this is a benefit for our friend Jason Stein.
Oh, yeah. At Arlene's?
Arlene's Grocery. This was April 1st, 2019.
Ugh. Some good hangs.
Yeah.
Julia Johns, one of the greatest.
Julia Johns, who went to LA
Yeah,
and didn't
rude.
come back. That's fine.
You just have to visit more.
It's fine when you move to LA. I'm fine with
We're
it.
fine.
And then the next photo is going to be at Robert Dean's
Yes.
Grzinski.
Yes.
May 2nd, 2019.
Ah, man. Wow, we're really coming up. It's like, to me, I'm like, oh my God, that was like a couple years ago. And it's like, no, that was like 7 years. It's so long ago.
2019, canonically, is 2 years ago.
Yes. Yes. It's 2 years ago.
It's simply 2 years ago. I'm sure that we all agree.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Robert, we look so young.
Just feel like we need credit for COVID. It's 2 years.
know.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Yes.
He's my I've been through many a comedy partner in my life, but Robert will forever be my comedy brother. We used to, because we took over If You Build It at UCB from Kara and Nick. But we always like kind of, and like Nick had kind of like already like pulled out a little bit, and like Kara passed it on, and like we had been like guest hosting or whatever, and then she was like, why don't you guys just like take it and you can run with it? And we were like, and we ran that show for years, and she gave it, and we were always like, Mom. Like Kara was like our mom, and like, and also we were both very close to Kara and Jared, and we were always like, ugh, Mom and Dad were being so weird when I was staying with them in LA, like, because we would both stay with them in LA and like, and get back and be like, watching Kara watch Jared pack is the most stressful thing I've ever, just like having those, and like, I'd be like, Mom and Dad are fighting. But we like, I remember we were like, for so long we alternate hosted. So like one of us would host and the other one like would just kind of not even come, because we'd be like, it's a weekly and like whatever. And then like we were like, what are we doing? We should be both here all the time hanging out. We never hosted together though. We've never
Yeah.
been on stage together.
Wow.
But-
Really?
Yeah.
Even in all that time?
In all that time, I think maybe once we we were just both like not, like we mutually agreed that. Like it was nice that it wasn't one of us being like, come on, do it. And the other one was like, I don't want to do that with you. Like it was just like, we were both like, I don't know if that's ever going to be as good a hosting as either of us individually, because we were both like pretty good at hosting on our own.
Yeah, it's true.
And like getting to like work out material more. Like now I'm just like, me and Gondelman are like host all the time, everything. And he was just like, and I'm always just like, oh no, please, because I have no material right now that I care about. So like, I'd rather just talk to you.
Yeah.
But that was at a time where I think Robert and I were both like, oh, I want to be able to like work stuff out when I'm hosting, and like it's hard to do when it's the two of us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about a weekly show? Like,
Yeah.
do you feel like you I'll start with this. I think I would like to see a little more writing these days. I feel like there was a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
And I say that for myself as well.
there was a time when we were living with a heck of a lot of weekly shows
Yeah.
and a heck of a lot of how many sets a night would you say you were getting in this era?
In this era was probably like for, I would say like the like 2015 to 2019, like solidly, like most nights definitely 2
Mhm.
up to 3 running around, just because I like never really worked a lot of clubs, so it was just like stringing together like bar shows and stuff. But like would certainly be doing 2 or 3 sets a night almost every night, like just a lot. Like that's just a lot of comedy. And now like, I mean, I'm in my 40s, so I'm just like a little tired. But like I can't even string together that kind of work right now. So it's a lot harder to, if you have like a couple days off a week where you're like, oh, I'm not like writing when you have like not a lot going on feels kind of futile. But like, you're like, oh, but I like worked on these jokes for so long. Like, I do want to like tell them for a long time. So there's like stuff you don't want to like drop out. Like, obviously, you're like not doing the same set every night, but it is just like a thing where I'm just like, oh, when there's more comedy to do, you write more comedy. And there's currently just so much less comedy. There's all the shows are monthlies. Everybody's pretty precious about them. And like, there's not as many mediocre shows, like real like mid ones where you're just like, yeah, it's like not the show where I'm gonna be like, just fucking do your best and have like an awesome set and record it, or like, or just like crush in front of like the people you respect, or like whatever. It's like there's those like really great shows that you're like, I want to try. And then there's like bad bar shows, not bad, but like little poorly attended bar shows where you're like, oh, I'll just look at my notebook and like do fully new, and like I don't care if I bomb because everybody's gonna bomb because inherently you would have to bomb at this show. There aren't enough people to kill. Um, but then there used to be this like big class of shows in the middle where everything it was just like, "It's pretty good." Like, you could do new stuff. You could, if you don't have new stuff, you could kinda, like, fuck around with some old stuff, and, like, that's all fine, and, like, those are what's really missing because those would be weeklies, like,
Yeah.
and that's, like, gone, and I don't know how we get it back. It's, like, part venue loss, but part, like, the new kids starting up aren't as into running shows, it seems, not to put it on them. I don't know. It makes me annoyed.
Yeah, I will. It takes a lot of effort to run a
It
weekly.
does. It's a lot it's a huge commitment.
Yeah, I'm just spitballing here, but I think a lot of the time that people spent doing that is probably now editing clips.
It is.
So but yeah, I think this period that we have in the tray right now is a period of many, many weeklies. And I also think look at how many times I see you out where you're at a show. And even in this, you have writing jobs on TV and you're out a lot for LA
Yeah.
as well. And still, this is how much you're showing up in the archives. So that means you were really,
There were a lot of places
really,
to go. You were everywhere.
yeah,
We were all everywhere because there were so many things, and, like, now, like, every time like, I host a show at Union Hall that's 1st and 3rd Mondays, Frankenstein's Baby, and we're always like, Union Hall just doesn't really wanna have a weekly show right now, so, like, anything that they do with regularity is a monthly or a twice a month, bi-monthly, biweekly? I don't know which one it is. And I refuse to learn. Um, but we're always like, the hosts and I are always just like, "It's so annoying that we can't have this be a weekly because it's become, like, a really nice hang too." Like, there's not a lot going on Mondays. Like, Mondays used to be a pretty hot night for comedy. And so it's just like, and it's Union Hall, and, like, the crowd's always good, and Don Will DJs, and we, like, all hang out afterwards, and it's just like, why can't we have this every week? Like, why like, like 8 years ago, this would have been a weekly show in a heartbeat, and it would have been packed. Like,
Yeah. Do you think venues are cooling off of comedy?
it's so hard to it's hard to say because like Union Hall, it's certainly not. But they're just kind of. But I think like looking at the Bell House is owned by Live Nation now and has like they still like book great people, but like it almost works more like a road venue. Like it's more like for headliners coming through
Yeah.
and not for shows that are getting put together by people who are here. Not that they don't still have that, but that's like not the focus because they are owned by a corporation that is focused exclusively on profit and what brings in more profit, like famous people that I've never heard of, or like my friends who like goof around in Brooklyn. So
Yeah.
I get it. And other venues, I don't know. Like it's like even I was talking to a young comic and I was like, not only do I need to know like what the shows are and who is running them, like she's like in her 20s, and so I'm like, you tell me what you do. I was like, where are they? Like, where in the city? Like, where are people doing comedy beyond the places that I think of immediately that are where I do comedy?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It seems like, yeah, there maybe venues are like, this isn't for us anymore.
Yeah, I know of a couple that have scaled back
Hmm.
their comedy, but there is a Brooklyn Comedy Club, which I really like those guys. They're booking off tapes, which I think is the Lord's work.
Oh my God.
Like truly, truly. So it's not that there's not stuff going on, but I don't think it's at the scale.
It's definitely not at the scale.
Yeah.
And I have less energy to be hopping on the L train. No offense to those who live off the L, but I live in Gowanus and it's hard.
Yeah. And this next
Oh, yeah.
one, let's see, where are we?
We are at Union Hall. I think this is the first time that Josh Gondelman and I hosted anything together on stage. I don't know what the show was.
Couples Therapy,
Uh,
Union Hall, August 1st, 2019.
oh, so we weren't hosting.
Yeah, that would have
I
been,
think it was like they invited duos, right?
yeah, it would have been Naomi
It
and
was,
Andy.
yes, yes. And it was like they had comedy couples or like comedy like people who were like close. And this is definitely the first time Josh and I performed together, and I had had a root canal earlier that day.
Oh, yikes.
Or not maybe it was a deep cavity that like didn't become a root canal, but my face was slightly numb. I remember that very specifically.
Yikes.
I remember this photo at the bar that you took, and I was like, I wonder if you could tell that like my jaw was like a little like swollen from the drilling that I had done earlier that day. But I was like, I would never like I was just like, of course I'm not gonna cancel the show. Like I was
Yeah.
like, I'm definitely gonna still go and have fun. And I don't think anybody noticed. It wasn't like so bad, but I remember feeling a little droopy. It was a little droopy for the for most of that day.
And then the next photo, we're in November 7th, 2019, Chelsea Music
Oh
Hall.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
What
backstage.
was the show?
It was called Hurricane,
Yeah, was this for the New York Comedy Wait, what was the date?
November 7th,
That
2019.
must have been like a New York Comedy Fest show.
I think so. I think so, yeah. And
Yeah.
we have a couple of performance photos.
Yeah.
And then you,
Me and Alyssa
Alyssa.
goofing off, having so much fun. Ugh, what a cutie. I just remember also she and I love buying each other presents just like for fun. One of my best friends. And we had gone and gotten a drink before the show, and I'd been like, "Oh, I bought myself a lipstick and I just bought one for you too." And it was like this Chanel lipstick that just like I had tried it and I was like, I don't buy a lot of makeup. I don't wear a lot of makeup, so I'm like, I'm fine buying a $35 lipstick because I'm not spending hundreds of dollars on the rest of it. Um, and I was like, "It's so good," and we both were like, "It works on both of us," and we, like, don't have the same coloring at all, and we were just like, "Oh, it's like the traveling pants of lipsticks," like, and I've bought it for, like, 5 different people after that as, like, a gift, as, like, a nice little, like, little present for nothing or whatever, and I remember I gave it to her that night, and we were both like, "Lipstick."
I know her. What's her last name?
Wolf.
Wolf. Is that with an E at the end?
No, it's 2 Fs.
2 Fs. Okay. All right. And you just helped me with the archives because she wasn't labeled.
Yeah, there you go.
And now she is. So I'll be able to find that photo of you, Alyssa.
Good. It's so cute. Ugh. I remember also being like that you were there, and so then we were like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, thank God we can have, like, a nice photo of the 2 of us." Every photo of the 2 of us was taken by one of us at the creek in the dark, like, just, like, on our phones looking terrible, and it was like I remember that was, like, an early, like, "Oh, it's nice to have a nice photo of us."
Nice. And then let's see, where are we? Oh, Yasser, Lester, and friends at City
Oh,
Winery. We have skipped to 2021. Wow, so we went from
this was November
November
2019.
2019. That actually makes a
That's the
lot of
jump.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, what did you go through as far as momentum loss?
I just, like, put that there. I have, like and I know everybody really had their own journey with what COVID did to our careers, but right before I will cry when I talk about this, it is super emotional to me, even though it all kind of worked out, but also didn't. Um, I had started writing what became Oh God, a show about abortion in December of 2020, of 2019. And I did a week at the Creek where I just like was trying it out and was like, what is this going to be? No idea. And it was like, I remember it was one of the only week at the Creeks where they were like, there were people there every night. Just because like Monday night at 7 p.m. at the Creek was like a tough sell for anything, let alone like, here's an hour that I'm figuring out and I'm not famous. Um, but by the end of that week, I was like, this is something really special. And I think this is going to like change my life. And then I did it March 4th of 2020 at Union Hall. And Mike and Carly, the producers who I ended up working with, who took it to Cherry Lane eventually. And that was like the plan. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do a Cherry Lane show. Like, this is going to, like, this is it. And it was March 4th of 2020 and COVID happened. And I was like, it's over. Like, I genuinely was like, and I had like a video of that Union Hall show and it was so good. And it was like everybody I knew was there. It was like the hottest crowd. I like, it was still like messy, but like it was working. And I spent so much time in 2020 in my apartment getting wine drunk alone, watching that tape and like smoking a cigarette out my window. Like I was just like a retired football player looking at old tape of my college days. It was like, it was really dark. And obviously it worked out in that like when things opened up, like Mike and Carly were like, all right, let's go. Let's do like it wasn't over, but I was just like, who knows if Cherry Lane is going to survive? Who knows if they're going to keep producing, if I'm going to ever get to do comedy? Like it was such an uncertain thing for so many people, and I know we all had that with, like, so much of just, like, what this career is, like, in comedy and writing, and, like, I mean, everything disappeared for so long, but that felt so specifically like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
now what?" And it obviously worked out and became a huge success that I'm so proud of to this day, and who knows what it would have ended up being like if I had just, like maybe the show wouldn't have gotten as good as it was if I had not had that break and you know, the time to think about it so much and what but it was like that was I had a really hard time in 2020. And then once it was like eventually we're all gonna get back and there will be a vaccine and we'll do like I didn't do any outdoor shows. I was just like, I'm not gonna compete with like a child's birthday. And the only material I cared about doing at that time was figuring out this show about my abortion. I was like, it's just not stuff I'm gonna do in a park.
Right.
When people are not signing up for that material. And it's very personal and it bombs most of the time early days trying to figure out like what's funny here. So I really didn't perform again with the exception of one or two tiny outdoor things that I did just because it was convenient and as a favor, until after we got vaccinated.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
It was tough. Oh, yes, I remember the show with Yasser. Um,
Yeah, so this would have been, yeah, November of 2021, so we're starting to come out of it. And then I take a photo I really love of you. This is
I love this one. I
yeah,
love this pairing.
this is outside of Cobra Club,
Yeah.
December 4th, 2021. This is Eric Schmidt and it's a bunch of them run it. Good for You,
Oh,
it was
yeah, good for
called.
you when it moved from
Well, the place they did it, Cantina
Cantina Royale. I was like, Casino Royale?
Cantina Royale closed in COVID, so they went to Cobra Club for a bit,
Yeah,
and,
I remember that, and that show was always so good.
yeah, it's still good. It's now, Live Snake.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
It's a monthly, really love it, but yeah, I run into you, um, there
Yes.
post-COVID, and it looks like we had a little more time together.
Yeah.
That photo is really lovely.
Yeah, I remember because I was walking in, and I was on the phone,
Yeah.
and I saw you, and you were like, "Let's do photos," and I was like, "Whoever this is can fuck off. I have to do this with Mindy now." It had been so long since I had, like, seen you and gotten good photos, and we had the light, and I was just like my hair was working that day, like, it
Yeah,
really, like it
it
was a
took
perfect moment.
yeah, it took all of 5 minutes, but
Yeah,
still.
exactly.
And then we're back at the Bell House for 51st Jokes, only this time it's a 51st Jokes that takes place in February
Yep.
because there was yet another round of COVID
Yeah.
and the date got pushed. That's the latest 50 has ever happened.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was really wonderful to see everybody.
Yeah, that felt like the first. 'Cause, like, I always love 51st Joke. It is, like, my favorite thing, but I do feel, like, a little, like, when it is r the run-up to it, I'm a little, like I start getting a little, like, anxious of, like, 1, like, writing a new joke, and I try to really follow the rules and not test it. Um,
Yeah.
or,
I
like,
know when you guys don't follow the rules, by the way.
it's so clear.
We know.
Um, so I just, like so I always am like, it's a little bit of anxiety, and there is, like, the anxiety of, like, everyone in one room, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
But it also is, like, okay, gear yourself up for, like, socialization. Like, it is a lot of talking to people and, like, almost exclusively people I love, like, not it's not like, "Oh, these guys are here." Um, but it is kind of just, like, a lot, and I remember not feeling that way for this one because it was just like, "We're back."
Yeah. All right. So we move on from 51st Jokes in February of 2022 to
And then no one saw me perform. I think, like, that was I did 51st, and then, like, I was doing a few spots, but I wasn't really performing at all between that and What Comes Next, because I was just doing the show, and I couldn't do the show in New York
oh, yeah,
because we want people to buy the expensive tickets, not the $5 Union Hall ones.
right. So I got to go to Cherry Lane Theater and shoot a rehearsal of Allison's one woman show. And this was just a hoot. We just hung out in the Cherry Lane. And I do think you were actually rehearsing a
I was
little
running
bit.
it through I remember
Yeah.
I had to run it through, and that was something that, like oh my god, these are I feel like I looked at all of these, but I remember just, like, there's, like, a small selection that, like, maybe Mike and Carly forwarded that were, like, our press photos that we used for stuff, and so I haven't seen a lot of these, like, faces in a long time.
Yeah, I did this is called from
Yeah.
everything I said that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I don't know, there's, like, several that are kinda cool, I don't know.
Yeah, they're all so good. I love like, I mean, to this day, I still use them for certain press. I remember I didn't know that this was, like, a piece of it, and they told me after like, Mike and Carly told me after, 'cause, like, I didn't come from theater. So I did like, but they were like, "You do have to run like, we're gonna run the lights and sound for the whole show," and I'm like, "Do you need me to do the whole show to figure that out?" Like, there was no, like, set design to it, but there was some, like, light lighting changes. And in the, like, load in period before the show opened, I had to run it, like, over 2 days, like, probably 4 times,
Ooh,
which isn't insane in a performance, but there's no one in the room
yeah,
and no one's laughing, and it was like an ego death. I was like, "Oh, no, this is bad. We're about to open this thing, and it's bad." Like, no one's laughing, and it's like, "No," because, like, the people in the room are just, like, the producers and, like, the tech person, and they're working. Like, they're not listening. It's not for that. But, like, they're like, "We didn't wanna stress you out about how awful that experience is for comedians," um, because they've produced so many of, like, these solo shows and, like, they know the world we come from, and, like, it's not the same as, like, a play where, like, yeah, the audience is gonna be quiet for a lot of it usually. So, like, it's like, no, no, the laughs are, like, the thing. Ugh, that was such a special time. I think about it so much of being the most fun I've ever had and the hardest I've ever worked at anything. Oh, yeah, Cherry Lane.
And you wrote a beautiful essay about this time. I highly suggest subscribing to Allison's newsletter. It's a weekly,
Yeah, except
and
for when I don't feel like doing it. Every every once in a while, it's free, so come on, guys.
where can they sign up?
It's called Comfort Read because I just want, like, a weekly little newsletter of, like, what I'm up to and thinking about that's, like, a comfortable feels like an old blog. Um, it's on Substack, and you can subscribe, and it's free, and it just comes to your inbox every Thursday at 10.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
like
silly.
it.
I'm writing about all kinds of dumb stuff.
Yeah, it's like you're chatting with a friend, and
Yeah.
there's little things about fashion and a lot about soup.
It is a lot about soup. I don't know why, but, I mean, I love soup, that's why.
Yeah.
So,
And then now we're at Emmy Blotnick's wedding,
yes, we are.
super close to where we are
Yes.
right now. And this is at El
El
Pinguino.
Pinguino. This
And
was the craziest day of my
we've got a crew of comedians. We
Yes.
got Shane Torres, Tom Thakar,
Tommy McNamara.
Shane Torres, just yucking it up. And honestly, there's a lot of photos, and that's with me cutting a bunch of them. That's
Yeah.
how much you guys were laughing.
We were I mean, few people will make me laugh like those guys. Um, and I had just come from and Emmy's wedding was, like, so great because I was like, "Oh, this is everybody I love in comedy." And Fabulous Seafood. But I had to miss the ceremony because I that was the last day of my first run of Oh God before the extension started, and it was my last I was gonna get because that I did 7 shows a week, 6 days. Um, and it ran from April 26th, and the first break wasn't until June 4th. So it was and every I was off on Sundays, but throughout that run, almost every Sunday one Sunday I went down to DC and did the show for a lot of money. That's the only reason I would do it to not get the day off. And then I did a 92Y talk, and, like, I was, like, doing so much press and other stuff. And this was the last day. There were 2 shows. There was a matinee and then the 7. And in between, my best friend Natasha, who's a pastry chef, we had organized this was after Roe fell? After the leak? No, this was after the leak, but before we had lost Roe entirely. Um, I think. Maybe not. Whatever. We did a big bake sale for abortion funds, for the Bridget Alliance, which is, like, make sure that people can get access to money if they have to travel. And so we had done I had done the show, we had the bake sale in between the shows, and it was just like we shut down Commerce Street. We raised $22,000 in, like, 3 hours. Um, it was great, and, like, it was, like, every famous chef, every popular cookbook author, like, had a little stand. It was, like, the vibes were so joyful, it was so wonderful, and then I did the second show, and then I went to Emmy's wedding. I got there, I was threadbare, just, like, barely functioning, but also just, like, ready to kind of just, like I was like, "I wanna sit with the maniacs I know and have a big ol' martini and a bunch of shrimp and just goof off because tomorrow is my first the beginning of a week off of this, like, insanity that I had been living under in joyfully, but it was still exhausting, and I just, like I remember having so much fun that night and then, like, waking up the next day and being just a shell of a person.
Yeah,
It was a lot.
yeah. How did you stay charged up for that run?
I mean, I will say we opened it, like previews began April 26th. The leak happened where we, like, knew that, like, the end of Row was coming, like, May 7th, and then opening night was May 9th, I think. And then, I mean, the fact that and I don't wanna be like, "It was important," but, like, the show was a part of a conversation that was happening that was important to be having, and, like, I don't think that me doing comedy was changing politics or really changing anybody's mind. If you were gonna come see the show, you weren't, like, on the fence about abortion and then decided that you agree with it. But it was this, like, destigmatizing and it felt like it was, like I was, like, juiced up by the fact like, again, I would rather that none of this has happened, but I think the fact that I felt like it was important work to be doing, even for me processing how I was feeling about the news and how awful it was, and to be like, I get to go to this place every single day and be in community with people who care about this, and I get to help them make sense of this really awful loss of civil liberties for so many people, that, like, it did keep me kind of, like, jazzed to go every day. There were lots of days, I mean, where I was just like, "I can't do it. I can't do it today." Like, it either, like, it's just tiring or just, like, holding all of that was really, like, emotionally exhausting. And I didn't really realize it until things ended, and I was like, "Whoa," that I was doing a lot of emotional work that, like, I need to recover from,
Yeah.
just, like, being in a room with people talking about that, and then getting a million, I mean, like, people would message me their abortion stories, and people would stop me on the street and, like, tell me about their, and, like, a wonderful experience, but also, like, you need to recover from that. It's just a lot to be taking in and to be holding on to, but still the most fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it today. When I just think of, like, when I knowing how tiring it was, I'm like, "Ooh, do I have that in me again? Probably
Yeah.
not." But I got to do it once, and that to me was enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time for something else.
And you've written about that time in your
Yeah.
newsletter,
Yes.
and it's called "I Did the Thing."
I Did the Thing is the title of that news, and all you could get all the old newsletters just on the Substack app or website or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just about how it's like that was, like, for me, this was the culmination of, like, like, that 2011 pencil skirt photo to now is, like, it's kind of, there are jokes in it that are 8 years old, like, that were 8 years old when I did the show 8 years ago at this point, or 5. Like, it was just this, like, "Oh, this is bringing together," it's like, it's all the things I talk about and care about. It's reproductive health, it's comedy, it still has these, like, down moments where it's not just silly and it is, like, important and about something, and I felt like I'd been I've worked a lot in this industry and had a lot of really incredible experiences and things that people are like, "I wish I had that. How do you get that?" Done great shows, met great people, had great jobs. But this felt like I was like, "This is mine." And I find this is gonna be this is the thing. This is the thing that's gonna change, especially for my stand-up career. And it did and it didn't. And it didn't end in a way that I felt happy about, but it also was something that, like, as I have more distance from it and look back on it, I'm like, it's still an incredible accomplishment. It's not an HBO special, and that sucks, and it should be, and there's still time. You can always buy it, HBO. Um, but, it was really hard. I was in a really dark place. We're gonna move into when I'm in a dark place, I guess, now moving forward.
Yeah.
But I was in a really dark place about stand-up for so long because I was like, if I could have something that successful not get sold, then nothing I do is ever gonna get I'm never gonna have a special, because if it wasn't that, then what would it be? Which is an unfair way to think about my career, but very easy to get to that based on how I was feeling.
One of the reasons that we're doing this podcast is that there are systemic changes, that have occurred, and they kinda happened in time with the development of this show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think, like, if this show had been around in 2015, I think things look different
Yeah.
for it. Even 2017,
Even yeah.
2018,
Yeah.
but the industry changed, the bottom dropped out,
Yeah.
and it did so kind of across the board, but it feels personal when it's your project that's one of the things that's impacted,
Yeah.
right? And so this project came about around the time that Instagram changed the algorithm,
Yeah.
and the number of clients that I had walk into the studio in 2022,
Ugh.
just devastated
Yeah.
because they had done well top part of 2021. Algorithm was on their side,
Mhm.
like 100,000 views was low
Yeah.
for anything they put out.
Yeah.
And then get to midway through 2022, they're lucky if they crack 10K.
Yeah.
And so I see a lot of trends in here. I
Mhm.
joke often that Jen and I have a lot of, like, accidental data sets,
Yeah.
right?
No,
By
absolutely.
the people who come in, and the pipeline for getting a show developed and seen has so markedly shifted,
Yeah.
and it feels personal.
It does. It's so hard to not that's the thing about, like, when you're making something and whatever it is, like, you're like, "This is the most important thing because 'cause I'm making it." And, like, I thought about this with writing my book where I'm like, "This book is so important, because I'm writing it." But it's like, it's one of 1,000 titles that'll come out from Random House this year, and, like, when things are happening in the company, they're not like, "Oh, but it's Allison's book." And it's like, it is helpful to, like, remember that, like, we have to live in a system that we're not in control of and it's not personal, but it's so hard when it affects you personally when things aren't working out and you're like, "But I did all the stuff right. I did
Yeah,
all the stuff you guys told me to do, and here I am not getting the results that I'm supposed to be getting."
yeah, stuff. All right. So Allison and I have talked for so long that Eric and Jeremy, they had to like change their data cards and whatnot. Cinematographer type things had to happen. That's how long we've already talked. And Allison, will you come back for
Yeah,
another episode?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because we're not even done with box one. And this is a full box two.
That's
Just,
full?
yeah, it's full.
Wow, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Twist my arm, I'll come back and talk about more of myself.
All right, well, we're gonna hold you to that. Camera is a contract.
Yes.
That's
What am I looking at, 1
that's a
over here?
new saying I just made up.
Camera is a contract.
Yeah, all right, hashtag. So, with the show and, you come out of the show, by the time we get to November 10th of 2022, you're out at the gutter. You do a show with Rojo and Tone.
Yeah, I love those guys.
And you're back, you're doing comedy, and, the thing is the time that we're in is so incredibly tumultuous. I don't have any answers, but
No.
the beginning of the answer is to be out there making your work,
Yeah,
and you did that. Like,
yeah.
here you are, you're in the archives again. The show has closed. Has the show
The
closed?
show had closed.
Yeah.
It closed in August, and then I took a beat, and then this was, like, by fall, I was like I remember this show really specifically, 1, because I then, like, went out with Tone and Rojo, and we got, like, really hammered and had, like, a nice catch up. I hadn't seen either of them in years at this point.
They're just the best.
Just the nicest guys, just, like, down for a good hang. We're just gossiping. There were some other, like, folks on the like, hanging out at the show who were really fun to hang out with. Um, but I remember doing this show, and it was, like, one of the first times after Oh God that I felt like I was, like, kind of in my body again on stage and, like, had a good set and, like, wasn't, like, doing like, I remember I wasn't doing any material from the show, and I was just, like, I was, like, feeling good about stand up. Like, it was just, like, one of those sets where you're like, it's all clicking and it's working, and it really hadn't been in, like, the just, like, getting back out there after the show was very baby deer, like, just trying to just feeling aw and the show had ended, and I hadn't known it wasn't selling yet. Like, this was still I mean, I guess at this point, I probably would have been, like, aware that, like, it wasn't gonna go anywhere, but there was still kind of, like, some runtime. But I was kind of in, like, "Now what? What do I talk about now that I just did this that like, now what?" And I felt like that show was just a really good show.
Yeah,
I remember it.
yeah. It's a good one. And then the next time I see you is Phoebe and Khalees thought they were gonna be hella famous by now at Union
These
Hall.
are from another
Oh, yeah, let's see, what is that?
I can't tell if this is from an earlier show that because I recognize this
Oh,
outfit.
51st joke.
Oh, 51st, yeah.
We have a 51st.
We
We
had
go
another 51st.
Yeah, January 16th, 2023, the Bell House. And then we have some portraits. And by the way, you had a lot of cute portraits that year because this is a crap ton of portraits in front of the red
Yes.
curtain.
Yeah, this is from the Union Hall Phoebe show, Phoebe and
Okay.
Khalees.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So
There were
red
just those 2 from 51st. I think I might have even just, like, kinda run in and run out at that one. I can't remember
oh, at
what.
the Bell House that
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we're ending this box 1 ends with the Phoebe and Khalees show at Union Hall, and that's January 9th, 2023. And so again, you're out there.
Yeah.
You're back at it.
Yeah.
You're back doing the work.
Yeah, I'd taken some time. Oh my god, I'm wearing the stupidest shirt. I had taken some time and was, like, just performing a lot less. I was, like, letting myself recover. Yeah, I remember I was just, like, starting to be, like, a little gentler with my, like, understanding of, like, what this can look like kind of after, like, post-COVID, but also post, "Oh god," like, that was so tiring and so exhausting and so great and intense, but I was like, "Oh, like, you can take nights off." Like, you can like, in a way that, like, I just didn't, especially when you're, like, working on other stuff. Um, but this was kind of like I was starting to be like, "Yeah, I'm out there, I'm figuring it out again," and, like, I'm trying to kind of, like, start over in this way. I burned like, oh god, I like so much of it. I was like, "This can never be told outside of this context." Like, these jokes just, to me, are part of a thing that, like, I don't really. I did, like, a second version of Oh God when I was trying to, like, resell it to networks, and they were like, "Still no." Um, and there were some jokes I'd added in there that I kind of just do in a regular set now, but there's almost nothing from Oh God, a Show About Abortion that I ever do in other sets. Like, to me, it's just a time capsule of, like, it's the show, it stays the show, unless there's, like, some specific, like, when I do, like, you know, women's rights or reproductive rights charity shows, like, I'll pull some of that stuff out because it's, like, relevant, but if I'm just hopping up at Union Hall, I never do anything, and this is when I was just, like, building all new from the beginning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. And now, so this is we're gonna leave your story in January of 2023,
Okay.
and we're gonna have you back
Anytime.
for an episode 2, but, you know, we're leaving you in 2023, but here in 2026, you have this book coming out, and let's just put that down here for the overhead. Yeah, and just tell us a bit about the book.
Yeah, it's really been an exciting time to have this book coming out. I feel like really, this is the final that, like, I just got the other day, and it feels so real writing a book. Like, Oh God felt like it was this, like, long thing, and, like, writing a book took 2 more than 2 years of writing and then another year of, like, from finished writing to it being this, like, physical thing you can buy. It is essays about my life, kind of all based on, like, the identities I feel like I've had, and it's, like, so interesting to kind of, like, think and talk about it in the context of seeing, like, all these, like, literal physical versions of myself, um, some of them unrecognizable in good and bad ways, but it kind of, like, it's underscored. They're individual essay. It's a memoir in essays, but it is, kind of underscored by the fact that I almost died from my first spine surgery when I was 19 years old and was only saved by this experimental procedure that they had only done 500 times, and they were like, "It's probably gonna kill you, like, we don't know." But I was gonna die either way, so I was like, "Let's do it." And, that happened to me at 19, and I've been, like, living in and out of, like, very chronic, serious back pain for my whole life, so it's kind of underscored, like, all these essays about, like, shopping at Loehmann's and, like, loving Bravo and, you know, am I a good friend or not? And, right, like, my comedy career is all kind of, like, underscored by this kind of, like, relationship with death and relationship with pain. So if that's something that you know and experience, I think that like, I tried to have, like, really frank conversations about chronic pain, that you don't see very often, especially as, like, someone who doesn't present as being, like, in pain. I mean, I'm not currently, but I look healthy to lots of
Right.
people. I'm young. I don't seem to struggle, but, like, it's there and it was invisible for so long. So that's, like, a big piece of it, but I think it's very funny. It's a lot of jokes. You know, I talk about my parents, I talk about being an only child, I talk about being single and not wanting kids. I have my abortion story in there that kind of, like, is Oh God was definitely the thing that lifted my profile enough to be able to like sell a book for real. Um, and so obviously that's in there. And it's just, I'm very excited for people to finally read it. I feel like it's been this like secret I've been keeping for so long.
Yeah.
And it has like a really good author photo that Mindy took. That Mindy took. Can I like try and does that like jump the gun? Because we'll obviously
Yeah. Nice.
it looks so good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
This was a hoot and it flew by.
I know. I could do this for like 9 more hours.
Yeah,
Clearly we can. We have enough photos.
we certainly do.
I can't believe there's this many. And I know
Well,
that there's like more numbers wise, but I can't believe there's even just like this many nights.
yeah. Well, this is the work,
Yeah.
right?
We're both out.
We're out. Thank you so much.
I'm taking pictures of you. I'm taking pictures of everything.
Allison and I have known each other for forever. She has a book coming out. What day does it come out?
July 7th.
July 7th. And author photo by me. And this author photo was taken right there. Right there. And we had a great time. We did a lot of hot gossip. You can't hear any of it in the photo, but you can read this book and you'll get an idea of how much fun we had. I'm a lot. You should honestly give this to your friend who has a summer birthday and also a beach trip planned. You should they're just gonna think you're so thoughtful and it's gonna be great. Thank you.
I'm taking pictures of you. I'm taking pictures of everything. A woman likes to run.